Hello, my name is Rima Tangalacheva. The second lecture will be devoted to the films of Im Kwon-taek as living classic of Korean culture. We will talk about Im Kwon-taek's early films, his works of the 1980s and 1990s. We will take a closer look at the director's films such as Sepyeonje 1993, Chunyan 2000, and Strokes of Fire 2001. We will pay special attention to these films as they reflect the key achievements of Korean traditional culture and history. First subtopic will be devoted to the director's early work. Im Kwon-taek is one of the most famous directors in South Korea. During his active career, his films have received numerous awards at local and international film festivals, as well as significant box office success. They helped bring international attention to the Korean film industry. In total, Im Kwon-taek directed over 100 films. Im Kwon-taek was born in 1936 in the province of South Cholla, Cholla-Namdo. Since childhood, Im Kwon-taek watched the constant confrontation between the left and the right. After the Korean War, his father was left-leaning. He was obsessed with the idea of unified Korea. He left the family for the partisans. At the age of 16, Im Kwon-taek went to Busan. He worked as a loader in the port. He sold old American boots in a shop. Later in Seoul, Im Kwon-taek was assistant of a director Chan Chan-hwa, who filmed action films. Director Chan Chan-hwa recommended his student Im Kwon-taek as a debutant director. In 1962, Im Kwon-taek directed his first film, Farewell to the Duman River, a historical action film about the path of independence fighters from Korea to Manchuria. Fortunately, the film has been preserved almost in its entirety. His debut film topped the national box office. In the same 1962, the director made his second film, War and the Old Man, about an old man who helps South Korean soldiers repel on the enemy attack during the Korean War. In 1963, Im Kwon-taek made 4 films in different genres. One of them was called The Man is Not Popular. It is possible that Im Kwon-taek made his film under the influence of the famous American musical comedy Some Like It Hot, 1959, directed and produced by Billy Wilder. 2 friends come from the province to Seoul. They dream of becoming famous actors, but they can't find a job. Everywhere was says only for women. Then the friends pretend to be women and get jobs in Korean classical opera. This film was Im Kwon-taek's first and last attempt at comedy. Unfortunately, the film has not survived. From the 1962 to 1969, Im Kwon-taek was one of the most productive directors in South Korea. He made 31 films, averaging 4 to 5 films a year. There were films of different genres: urban melodrama, historical and military action films. Basically, all the director's films were commercially successful. In the early 1970s, Im Kwon-taek was influential in changing the subject matter of South Korean films. He managed to negotiate with the producers that he would also make commercial films, but on the condition that he would be helped to develop a completely new direction. It was about national films with elements of historical drama, philosophical and psychological cinema, and ethnography. The director's strongest argument was the promise that the films could be exported overseas as artistic examples of ancient and enduring Korean culture. In 1973, Im Kwon-taek directed the war drama Testimony. It is an adaptation of a short story by writer Kim Kan-yoon. The war drama and anti-communist film Testimony tells the story of South Korean Army Lieutenant Chung, who witnesses the attack of the North Korean Army on June 25, 1950. The events of the Civil War are shown from the first day until the liberation of the southern part of the Korean peninsula. War drama Testimony was the most watched South Korean film in 1973. Unfortunately, the film has not survived. In one of his interviews, Im Kwon-taek admitted that the 50 films he made in his first 10 years of his career were largely cheap films. They were created simply as commercial entertainment. However, this experience proved valuable to him when creating all the other films. In fact, they made him one of the most important South Korean film directors. Of the 42 films directed by Im Kwon-taek in the 1970s, the historical film Genealogy is the most significant. The screenplay for the film Genealogy was based on the short story of the Clan Records by Seoul-born Japanese writer Kojiyama Toshiaki. The drama Genealogy became a milestone not only in the creative career of the director Im Kwon-taek, but also in the history of cinema in the Republic of Korea. Im Kwon-taek was able to convince the producers that taking their first names, surnames, and toponymic origins seriously would arouse keen interest among Koreans and abroad. The fact is that since 1940, a campaign began to replace Korean surnames with Japanese ones. Along with surnames, the name often had to be changed. According to the plan of Japanese initiators of the campaign, on the territory of the Korean peninsula, all Koreans were to become Japanese. Many Koreans obeyed a new order. The person who refused to fulfill the Japanese order was the hero of the film Genealogy, named Sol Jin-hyun. He was the patriarch of the Korean tradition of compiling and preserving the genealogies of every Korean. Actor John San-tae masterfully portrays the classical Confucian scholar, a nobleman who is wise and unflappable. The film by Im Kwon-taek is filmed with nostalgia for the lost Korea, which at first the Japanese tried to take away from the Koreans, and then the impersonal demands for modernization. Not without reason, in addition to the main storyline, the touching friendship of old Korean scientists and a young Japanese artist is shown. as well as we can see beautiful landscapes and celadon vases. It is the celadon ceramics, a precious heritage of ancient Korean culture that is compared with Korean bloodlines in the film. Like a unique celadon vase, the genealogy of every Korean bears the stamp of the destiny and providence. Not without reason, in the film Genealogy, the collection of the ancient celadon becomes the material embodiment of the value of strolls with Korean genealogies. With Genealogy, Im Kwon-taek began to create monumental artistic films dedicated to the centuries-old Korean history. It is no secret that in those years, South Korean viewers had already begun to forget their own history and culture, carried away by watching numerous Hollywood films. The historical dramas of Im Kwon-taek portray Korea as a beautiful, elegant, and venerable country with ancient traditions and a unique culture. It is no secret that each director's film arouses national interest in the particular event, personality in Korean history, or masterpiece of national culture. After the film Genealogy in South Korea, the Koreans began the production revival of the celadon and the mass replication of pedigrees, with the establishment of numerous public organizations and clubs by surnames obligatory for Koreans. Also, the film was not a commercial success. It was highly praised by the film community in the Republic of Korea. In 1978, director Im Kwon-taek was awarded the most prestigious national film award, Big Bell, for the film Genealogy in the nomination Best Director. Since the late 1970s, Im Kwon-taek has become widely known in Europe, especially in France. The film Genealogy was presented at Nantes Film Festival.